Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another chapter of Expat Conversations with your host, Michael Nolen. First of all, I want to say thank you very much to our lovely hosts that are here today enjoying the beautiful surroundings of the Hotel Riviera Lago Villa Monte Carlo. This property has been here on the north shore of the Lake Chapala, just west of downtown Chapala, for over 100 years. It's a beautiful facility. If you've never been here, I urge you to come over here. If you're local, you probably know exactly where it is, but you may not know everything they have to offer. This is a hotel. They have beautiful rooms. Most of them have views of the beautiful Lake Chapala. But one unique thing about this hotel is the thermal waters. They have two large pools that have the hot thermal mineral water in it. They're replaced every day. And another bonus is if you're in a room staying the night, you turn on your shower, you're not just getting tap water. This is thermal mineral water that around the world has been known for healing purposes. I grew up in Oklahoma, and there was a city there on the other side of the border in Hot Springs, Arkansas, that was world famous for hot spas and thermal baths. Well, we had the exact same thing here at the Villa Monte Carlo. We also have a great restaurant that's open pretty much every day for breakfast and lunch. I mentioned the two beautiful pools, really nice recreational area, convention type facilities, and something that has been very important the last several years is pickleball. It is a sport that has been growing leaps and bounds here in Mexico and actually around the world. We have about 8 pickleball courts here. So if you're a fan of that sport or want to learn it, they play almost every morning. You're welcome to come and just come by the villas, see what it is, and enjoy the restaurant. They have beautiful landscaping here. It's just a very nice area and a place to come and relax for the day. If you're not very familiar with my show, it's called Expat Conversations. It's an outreach from the University of Guadalajara Institute of Investigation, Innovation, and Governance, which is headed up by Dr. Marco Antonio Cortez Gradado. He's the former general rector of the University of Guadalajara for 6 years. Then he kind of took a little break from the general rector and gave himself as the rector or president of the University of Guadalajara campus in Puerto Vallarta. He was there for 6 years, and during that term, he allowed me to have a radio show through the University of Guadalajara Radio, 104.3 FM, in Puerto Vallarta. And I had the Good Morning Wake Up Show, which I hosted every week. A lot of fun, a lot of great information was given out by the professors at the university, but many members of the community. It was just a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. But several years ago, we moved my wife and I, from Puerto Vallarta to the Lake Chapala Society, or the Lake Chapala area. And at that time, I didn't start the radio show back up because the radio signal over on this part of the mountain isn't as good as it was in Puerto Vallarta. The station's actually over in the city of Guadalajara at the main campus, and the signal just didn't reach over. But we decided to go ahead and do this outreach program for expats and put it on YouTube as well as the audio on the radio. So, pretty new show. I hope you enjoy the information that I give out, but mostly I hope you enjoy the information and important facts that are given out by my by my guest. As I host the show, I'm going to have a lot of different people on and giving out really important information. So thank you again for tuning in. When I first moved to Lake Chapala area, I actually asked a lot of people, where can I do this? Where can I do that? It's different here than it is in Puerto Vallarta. And all the expats I talked to said, well, you just need to go to Lake Chapala Society. That's the hub of everything around here for expats. So we did, and they were right. Everything almost is centered around the Lake Chapala Society. Today, I am very, very fortunate to have the executive director of the Lake Chapala Society, Luis.
Yes. Pacheco.
Pacheco. And Luis, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for coming over here today.
Yes.
And I know everything you're going to talk about is going to be very helpful to the expats. And not only the ones who are living here now, not only the snowbirds, because there's a lot of snowbirds that left maybe 2.5 years ago when the pandemic started. Mm-hmm. Some left a year or two ago and have been gone for a while. And Lake Chapala Society, just like every other organization in the world, really was upside down, topsy-turvy for a while. I know the facility was closed down when it did start back up, opening, total mask, total spacing, and it was just like the rest of it. But we're getting back into the norm. And like I mentioned, you have the people that live here, the expats full-time. You have the snowbirds that will be coming back here shortly, depending on the weather, in Canada, in Europe, in North America, especially the northern states. And then there's a lot of future expats. There's so many people moving down here to this area in Puerto Vallarta, the 4 or 5 true expat communities within Mexico. And I think this is probably the home to the largest population. Puerto Vallarta might rival it, but this is a different vibe over here than it is in Puerto Vallarta. Puerto Vallarta is such a touristy area. Mm-hmm. And people are coming and going all the time. Oh, almost knocked the book over. There's a lot more permanent, full-time expats here, not only from North America and Canada, or I should say the United States and Canada, but also Europe. But they all come to the expats. We're all expats, maybe from Japan, maybe from New Zealand, maybe from Australia, maybe from London, somewhere in Europe,
yep,
or the United States. But we're all expats. We've all decided to leave the country of our birth or of our residency and come to what I think is one of the most beautiful parts of Mexico and really of the world. It's just a great place. What I think makes it so nice is the hospitality and the people of Mexico welcoming us expats here into the home. The weather, phenomenal down here. Mm-hmm. Growing season is year-round, beautiful flowers, beautiful fresh vegetables, fresh fruits all the time. The beautiful lake that we have right here. And then the organization of the Lake Chapala Society, which has been down here for a long, long time.
67 years.
67 years. I know the Hotel Monte Carlo here is over 100 years old.
Yeah.
And as you just mentioned, 67 years. Well, let me be quiet for a moment, which is hard for me to do, as everybody knows. Let you start talking and telling all the expats and all the listeners to this show about Lake Chapala Society, the history of it. Well, first introduce yourself, little bio of yourself, the history of Lake Chapala Society, where we've been the last 3 or 4 years, and where we're going in the future.
Sure.
Is that enough?
I think it's enough for a start.
Okay,
yeah, sure.
great.
Right. Well, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. I love being here. I love to have the opportunity to express and get people to know what's happening here at Lakeside, and also what we do at Lake Chapala Society for all the expats community and all the Mexican community. I think that one of the most interesting points around Lake Chapala Society right now, it's that it's becoming like an intercultural space. Mm-hmm. You know, because you can never talk about one community sharing life at Lakeside. No, it's a community of communities, because we have many Mexican different communities and also many different expats community. No, so that's that's one of the most complex but most enriching context that we can find. You know, so as you say, Chapala has become one of the largest communities of foreigners living in Mexico. Now, probably the other two spots are Puerto Vallarta and San Miguel de Allende. But it's very interesting because the three of them have like a very, very different context, vibe, interest, way of living. You know? It's very, very different. It's not the same. Puerto Vallarta, which is more like a party, the tourist, a beach. No, it's different. I think San Miguel is more like an old, refined cultural context.
I haven't been to San Miguel yet. I want to go, and
I think people should go and get to know it. Yeah, it's also an amazing place, but it's a very, very different vibe, and even because of the setting. No, it's in Guanajuato. It's totally a different weather, different context. No, it's most semi-desertic, so it has different opportunities and different things. And well, I think Chapala is, well, it's one of the biggest lakes in Mexico. No, I think it's the second one.
Is? Well, I think it's the largest lake.
Yes.
When I was told this morning, it was the largest lake in Mexico.
And so it has, the region has like a microclimate. So it's amazing. No, we are around 20 degrees Celsius all year long. No, we only have like 1 week of winter.
Yeah. It's eternal spring.
Yes.
It never gets really below 60 and it never really gets above 85. Like I mentioned earlier, the growing season is year-round. It's just incredible. And the altitude, we're at 5,300 feet.
Yep.
So, and believe it or not, with a huge lake right here, the humidity, you don't really feel it like you did in Puerto Vallarta or in Cabo or other parts.
And it's different because it's humidity coming from the sea with all the salt.
That's
that
true.
Creates a very different context.
True.
And the other thing now we have like the mountains, so that's what creates like a
right here to the north,
particular
to the north,
over here,
or the mountains, and they're beautiful this time of year. We're filming this in late August. The rainy season has been here upon us for the last couple months, probably another month to go, and everything is green and luscious. The trees are in full bloom. Oh, it's nice. I'm enjoying my life. Glad to be retired.
Oh yes. So, well, that's kind of the place that we are. And Lake Chapala, let's start talking about what Lake Chapala Society is. I personally think it's an amazing project. It's an amazing dream that has been going around for, well, many generations now. No, we started 67 years ago. It was a small group of 21, 22 expats that were living here in Chapala. So they came together and start realizing they could do something to help each other and to help the community around them. And I think that has been the main spirit over the years. Lake Chapala has changed a lot over the years. It started in Chapala. Now we are based in Ajijic. That had to be with a very important person in the history of LCS, which is Neil James. He's also a reference on the Ribera of Chapala. That could be another show. People could just
That's
get
true.
to know
The history of
Neil James could be very interesting to understand and how history developed at Lakeside. So, well, she was important. At the end, she donated her land from LCS around the 90s, and then we started growing. So, what is in essence Lake Chapala Society? Well, it's our motto. Kind of said it. It's a place where people are helping people. It's a place so the community can come together and construct almost every possible project they can think of that could help the community. At this point, we're on 123 different programs. It goes from our student aid program, in which we provide scholarships for college kids that around Lakeside and need the support for continuing their studies.
Hopefully at the University of Guadalajara.
Some of them are in the University of Guadalajara, others are on the local tech, the local CONALEP. They go to ITESO, they go to... It depends.
A lot of good educational opportunities if the kids can afford it and get some assistance. Yeah.
So, and we have had great talents coming out of that program. So that's one of, like, from that poll you can go all the way through to yoga classes, exercise classes, Scrabble. We got a bridge club.
Spanish classes.
We have educational programs, educational classes, English,
cooking classes
language,
from time to time,
cultural classes, history classes.
100 and some odd.
100 and some odd, yeah. So you can find them at the at the website, you'll have a problem going through our website because it has become too big. Sometimes you cannot just find everything. But I think that's the important part. No, and almost all of it. Well, all the activities are run by volunteers. No, we have a very small staff. We actually only have 13 people on our staff, but we have 300 volunteers.
And what is the membership? This is going to surprise you. I was shocked when I heard what the membership is at the Lake Chapala Society.
We're almost back to close to 3,000 members. Yeah, 3,000 members. And what I like about this is when someone becomes a member of Lake Chapala, and I think this is the most important part, it's not because you're paying to get a self-serve service. No, it's not. You're not becoming a member of a country club. Or, no. You are affiliating and you're giving your money to support something you believe in. No, it's to create a project that you know that at some point you'll get a lot out of it. No, because you get a lot of references, classes, courses, relationships. No, so you can land at Lakeside and then develop your life.
Well, they'll help you learn how to get a driver's license. If you don't know how to drive, they'll learn how to drive, how to get. There's so many helpful people there. How to get your visa, how to get your permanent visa, how to get your residency, how to do this, how to do that, how to exchange money. I mean, the idea is to information booth there to help you do anything.
Yeah, the idea is to try to create as much space as we need so people can just deal with settling up at Lakeside and then development their life. No? And right now, I think, as you asked on the last year, what we're trying to do, I'm kind of brand new. I've only been here for a year and a half. I'm the first Mexican executive director that was hired for the Lake Chapala Society. Before me, it was Stephen Balford and Terry Vidal that was there for almost 13 years and kind of did an amazing job constructing or structuring the institution. No, before that, it was not as consolidated as an institution as I think we are now, with the good things that come out of that and the bad things, no? Because there are things people will love and other people say, oh no, we're losing the essence with having a little bit more structure, but that happens on all.
That's okay, it's
on all
probably
processes,
good.
on all projects. No, I think it's great because that also is giving us viability to survive. I don't think if we hadn't been that better organized, we wouldn't have survived through COVID. As you know, we had, like everyone, to close almost for a year. It was really tough on us. Financially, we were still struggling to recover from those years. No, but people are amazing. I think what I value most of Lake Chapala Society, it's people, because it's all about people. No?
It really is.
It is what people want it to be. So that's pretty interesting. No? That's why you can have all this diversity coming up together with many different plans, many very interesting social-driven projects, even some great projects started as an idea of people from Lake Chapala and then grew up, like Half Hammers, the food bank, recycling projects, that they start growing, and we just said, nope, keep on going by yourself because this is too big for us, but it's going to be great for the community, so we just kind of impulse it.
Well, you mentioned earlier Nellie James, and she is a lady that had quite a bit of property. I don't know exactly how many acres or hectares it is, but it's probably 6 or 7 square blocks, maybe 2 acres.
Yep.
But it's just not brick and mortar buildings. This is a beautiful park-like setting, has ponds in the middle of it, beautiful flowering trees, giant trees, beautiful surroundings. It's in a very nice area that rests on the lake itself. There's quite a few little outbuildings, and they have the offices, they have a library, they have a restaurant, they have classrooms, they have like an amusement area, they have like an outdoor theater to where they hold all types of musical events, concerts, classes. They have a big, rotunda, almost like a plaza in the center. It's so serene. It's so quiet. You can go there in the morning and have your coffee, your tea, your whatever, a nice breakfast. Hear the fountains moving, the water rushing in the ponds, the ponds with the fish in them. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, we have
Japanese type.
Two koi ponds, yeah.
Koi ponds. But it's just a really, really beautiful setting and very, very casual. Once you walk through the gate, everybody's your friend. They even have ATM machines there. If there's a certain bank, Intercam Bank, that has
provide us an
an ATM, an information booth. You walk in past the front, restrooms on the right, the library on the left. You'll see an information booth. You can go there and say, hey, here's what I need. They'll direct you to wherever you need to go. They have large boards there that will help you sell your real estate, rent your real estate, sell your car, buy your car, get your driver's license, just whatever us expats need. Lake Chapala Society is like the hub for us, and it's just a great place to go. You feel welcome the second you walk through the gates.
Well, that's our biggest intention, that we create like a home for everyone, you know? So people can just go there and try to develop whatever they need for life, you know? So we have one of the biggest, and that was one of that project started from Neil James and beyond, that it was a public library. So we actually have two libraries because we have the main campus that is in 16 de septiembre, but also 2 blocks away from LCS, we had another property that Edward de Wilkes kind of donated when they died to LCS, and we construct there the Mexican Public Library.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So we have 2 libraries. It's
well, I don't speak Spanish or read Spanish, so I probably wouldn't.
No, but that's
I look at
amazing.
the pictures.
That's amazing because that's what we're trying to do with the Wilkes Center. It's more like a social impact program for all the Mexican community. So we have a lot of programs for kids because we have the Mexican library right there. So we're trying to restart one of our most important and most interesting programs is the Children's Art Program that started all the way back from the beginning of LCS and has gone with us and has given a space to create and to reflect on art for many, many years to many different generations. We even have some great painters now that are part of the legacy painters.
Well, there's one gentleman I live in Islahuacan de los Membrillos, and I'll say that again, Islahuacan de los Membrillos. It's a small village on the other side. I tell people where I live, and they said, oh, that can't be the name of that town. My brother said, hell, I can fly there faster than I can write it down.
Yes.
So, rather long name. But our church there has about 12 murals inside. And they're all painted by Mr. Zamora.
Yeah, I think it
Am I
was
saying
by
that
Zamora.
correct? He's been painting murals, not only in our church, but on our main plaza for many, many years. Now, I'm talking 40 or so odd years. But he also teaches art classes at the Lake Chapala Society, and has painted many murals here in this area, but has painted some murals around the grounds of the Chapala Society. Like I said, he teaches classes. So that's just one of the Mexican people that have joined and have become part of the community, helping teach the younger children art. I know there's ceramics over there.
We have an amazing pottery class that's run at LCS. You will find many different clubs addressing art or addressing literature. We have book discussion groups, that people come together on different genres. Because our library is one of the biggest in Latin America.
Wow.
English libraries, of course, outside.
Well, you
the
also
US.
not just have books, but you have audio, visual.
We have
you
audio,
tapes.
we have a video library. You can just rent movies there. We also have the Talking Books program. We have a relationship with the Congress library, so you can go and ask for some of the products to move. So we just try to keep on creating and supporting the programs and services that people will need, at the same time that we are now trying to create more social impact programs that will help the community develop in a better way. So
I know a lot of members are there weekly. A lot come every now and then. A lot of the snowbirds only come during the season they're here. But you keep them all connected by magazines.
yes,
You have your own monthly magazine that's free, that has some advertising in it, a lot of really, really great information, calendars, what's going on, when's the happening, what are the classes, what the fees are, if they are fees. And I have a couple samples here of the different magazines for this year. It comes out every month, correct?
It comes out every month.
But it's also online.
And it's also online. It's sent to all the database of people. We have close to 9,000 people that receive the magazine
Wow.
through the digital portal.
Because there's a lot of members that have lived here for a long time,
Yes.
then moved back to the States or moved back to Europe or to Canada, whatever, but they still want to stay connected because they love to come here once a year for vacation or whatever. And it's not just one generation.
No.
I've seen multi-generations down here, grandparents, parents, grandkids that all come, and some are, the kids are overtaking one class, the grandparents are doing something else, the others are doing, it's a family community for not just families, but the Lake Chapala Society. It is a true society of groups and communications of community.
Yes, and that's why we're trying to grow. Now, for example, Conexiones was a very interesting project because we try to do it's English and Spanish, which is very important.
Yes.
Yeah? Of course, it lives from the advertising. We cannot omit that, no. And we also create a directory, an annual directory, which we try to put as much services.
That's the directory right here.
Yeah, the directory right
that
there.
lists all the different programs and
many of our sponsors or commerce that's around Lakeside, so you can get all the services. It's just like a little
just
yellow
kind of
pages,
short little yellow pages, all kinds of information
that you can have. So all the members get their
like
copy annually, and they can be updated with information.
They're all free.
Yes.
It's part of the membership of the
It's part of the membership.
Chapala Society.
Yeah, the other service that's pretty good is the Wi-Fi. So a lot of people just use it to go and work, to connect, to communicate back home, to hold on online communications. So, as you say, I think one of the most spectacular parts of Lake Chapala Society is our campus. As you have described it, it's just about the gardens. We have kept the original houses, and we just have grown the gardens. We have a very big plaza, a little gazebo, and the gardens are using for our cultural events. One of the things that started a year and a half in order to survive to COVID, Steve Balfour, the president, he came up with a great program of concerts in the park. So now we're having concerts every 15 days, bringing people from Puerto Vallarta and from the States to perform for us. Those are fundraising events, so we really appreciate when people participate.
But they're very economical. I mean, you can go and
yes.
enjoy a really professional quality entertainment from the different venues in Puerto Vallarta or Guadalajara or Mexico City, different areas of the country. And sometimes we have people from out of the country come and do the concerts. They may be 500, 700 pesos, which is, $20-25.
No, it's 500 the VIP and 350 because it's fundraising.
For about an hour and a half of some really, really great professional entertainers.
Yes.
And you'll totally enjoy them. They have an area you can buy drinks, buy food, enjoy yourself, sit, congregate with your friends, have conversations, learn about other things, other people, and then enjoy the fabulous concerts that they have.
Yes.
And
and the concept started because of COVID. No, we were the only revenue that had enough space to bring that out
and
of
it's
the
outside,
open. So it's
yes.
outside. It's trying to get everything outside. Now we are trying to move on, trying to retake many of our classes that are indoors, and trying to go back. We want to go back to our movie discussion sessions, our TED Talks. One of the other programs that we have integrated to LCS that we are working with them is the Open Circle. So every Sunday you have amazing speakers.
Oh, please elaborate on that, because that's open. It's called Open Circle.
Yes.
It's every Sunday. Every
we
Sunday.
only close on Christmas.
At 10:30?
10 o'clock in the morning.
It's about 45 minutes to an hour.
Yes. And every single week we have different speakers talking about many different topics.
Well, I've been to quite a few of them. I've learned everything about the migration of butterflies from the United States to Mexico and back every year. Different areas you can go and watch those. I've learned about mariachi. They've had live mariachi singers. About
classical ballet, about sustainability, environment. So,
ecology.
Yeah, we have had great speakers.
Unbelievable speakers. So that's something that it's free, open to the public. Anybody can come, sit down for an hour or so. I didn't meet him in his first life, but I met Benjamin Franklin there.
Yes.
A couple months ago. And matter of fact, Mr. Franklin is going to be time ported from the 1770s to modern day, and he's going to be on my show in a couple of weeks.
Oh, great!
So I'm going to actually have Ben Franklin. Everybody knows him as Ben Franklin, one of the founding fathers of the United States.
It's a great talk. Yeah.
You know, they don't really believe in time transport, but he's going to be here. So keep watching on Expat Communication and Conversation with Michael Nolen, because he's going to be here.
Yeah, so as I was telling you, I think what I find very interesting on Lake Chapala now is how we are constructing or trying to reconstruct this space, so where many cultures can share their life and start doing that. For example, we're working this year. We want to have a very big celebration for the Day of the Dead, which it's a very important tradition here in Mexico. We're doing it a little bit more intercultural, so we'll start from Halloween all the way to the Day of the Dead and have a 3-day festival trying to explain many of the different cultural approach to life celebrations and honoring death. And we're planning to have about 22, 23 speakers. We'll start with a Halloween party, end up with
will it be a costume party?
Oh yes,
so
it's going to be an
dress
amazing costume party. You got to start getting your costume. It's going to be a contest. So let's
well, I had a member of the Lake or the Chapala American Legion, Post 7 here, and he talked about some of the expats that were American Legion members that have passed away here over the years. There's a special part in the Chapala Cemetery for the American veterans.
Yes.
So, and the Chapala American Legion Post keeps that. They have an agreement with the government to where they'll let them maintain it and make sure it's mowed, make sure it's watered, the flowers are put on and everything. So yes, Day of the Dead is very important here in Mexico. They honor their loved ones that have passed on in probably a much different way than many countries in the world.
Yes, it's a very peculiar celebration, and has to be with many of the cosmovision that's behind the ancestry.
Well, that's great that you're going to be having that. And that's going to be what, November?
It's November. It'll start, October 31st, and then we'll go all the way through November the 2nd. So that's going to be amazing. And also the other parties, we're trying to support many of the programs that are creating along Lakeside. For example, we're hosting a fundraiser on September the 2nd for the committee of the Fiestas Patrias of Ajijic.
All right.
So it's not an event for LCS. We just lend them the grants, and the community will have a great kermesse there, because all the fundraising goes to the Fiesta Patria. That means for independence celebration. That's on September. And one of the other things that we are retaking now, and we're having a lot of fun, it's we're retaking our tours.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so because that had to stop for 2 years.
Expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, but now we're starting. We have regular trips now that they're very important for the community. Our most important trip is to Costco. We go to Guadalajara once a month, and people love it.
Once a month, you go to Costco.
Oh yeah, sometimes we even sometimes have to take 2 buses.
In Home Depot, maybe thrown in there also.
Yeah, we have the 2 experiences. You can go to Home Depot and Costco if we go to the south part of Guadalajara. And if no, the other one is go to Costco and Andares, which is the large.
Andares is one of the most beautiful shopping malls I've ever been to. Bar none. I mean, there are stores there. You don't know if you're on Rodeo Drive or in Zapopan, Andares.
Yes, so they're
section
incredible.
of Guadalajara.
And now we're starting the rest of the trips that we do. We go to Zapopan, we go to Tlaquepaques, to some of the traditional parts, and we want to start doing other experiences. We're going to the ballet, we want to go to the baseball, we want to go to basketball games that we have in Guadalajara. So.
Well, I mean, I know Guadalajara has a phenomenal baseball team, the Charros, and they also have the Astros. Not be convinced with the Houston Astros, which is a world famous baseball organization. The Guadalajara Astros are a basketball team. And very high quality. I haven't been to an Astros basketball game. I have been to a Charros baseball game. Very high quality. I'd say it's AAA or above. Well, let me know when you're going to go to the Nacho Libre.
Yes.
Our church, the little church that I go to over in Agua Candidos, one year had a fundraiser and took a busload of us parishioners to see Nacho Libre, which is championship wrestling Mexican style.
Well, yeah.
And it is a little bit different than WWF or the WWA or whatever.
It has a Mexican context,
but
and the way we do things.
You might see a midget rooster or midget person or whatever dressed up like a rooster, wrestling a woman or another wrestler. It's a combination of wrestling, a lot of fun. The crowd really, really, really gets involved.
Yes.
I think it's open bar the entire time, and it's a spectacle.
It is.
It's a lot of fun. So if you go to the Championship Wrestling or Nacho Libre,
you'll be on the festival.
let me know, because I'd love to go. But
no, well, those are the kinds of experiences that we are retaking. So
but you also do day trips too, don't you?
And we do day trips. We're trying to retake that. We go to the wineries. We are going to start going to the tequila houses.
Now there is a place about 45 minutes to the south and west of Guadalajara named Tequila, Mexico. And it is the home to probably the largest tequila distributors and distilleries in the world. Mm-hmm. I think in this country of Mexico, there's 5 states
only 5, yes,
that have legalized the production of the
Well, they have the denomination
tequila
origin, no?
Mm-hmm.
So in order for your product to be called tequila, it has to come from one of these 5 states, and it's regulated by the special committee created.
Now you have mezcal, which is another drink that's a little bit different. Then you have
the essence, to be precise, el tequila is a mezcal, because the mezcal is produced from any agave. I mean, from any
type of cactus,
yes,
agave,
cactus.
and it grows underground like a great big pineapple.
Yeah,
And-
So, but the difference is
That's a whole different show.
Yeah, that's a whole different
And
show.
I will have that
You're
one day.
going to have a couple of programs probably on mezcal and
But
tequila.
then you all have-
And you can come to LCS to our wine testing, our tequila tasting, and our mezcal tasting events. We're having this Friday tequila tasting.
Oh, you are?
Oh, yes.
Well, if I was a drinker, I'd
12
be
different
there.
distributors, free bar
But you
for
mentioned
4 hours.
the different types of elixirs, or whatever you want to call them. There's also ricin, or ricea, which is a very, very strong derivative of the agave cactus. Not blue agave, but a different type of cactus that I think is about 45 to 50% alcohol.
Yes.
And I know that from, they have a big festival every year south of Puerto Vallarta. When I was doing my radio show, I'd have them come on every year and talk all about ricea. And they always brought me a really, really beautiful bottle, which I in turn gave to the general rector of the University of Guadalajara.
Great.
Little brown nosing, smarter than I look. But that was one thing that Dr. Marco Antonio Cortez Grudado always appreciated.
Yes.
Was some of the different gifts that I received for having people on my radio show. And I think one of his favorites was the ricea. But it's a very, very strong alcoholic drink that is produced here only in Mexico, I think.
And only in certain parts of Mexico.
And in certain parts of Mexico. But you are going to have a tequila testing. And that's always a great opportunity to come and learn about the history, how tequila is made. But if you do want to take a tour to go to the city of
You have to
tequila,
go to tequila, yes.
That's
a place to go.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, and it's always...
And it is a lot of fun, and you get to visit some time in the beautiful, lovely...
Yes.
There's a certain term that Chapala and Ajijic is one. It's a magical city in Mexico.
Pueblo Mágico.
Pueblo Mágico, and Tequila is one of those.
It's one of those.
Now,
Mágicos.
is it Chapala or Ajijic or just the lake area that's a Pueblo Mágico?
Ajijic was one that was named as Pueblo
Okay.
Mágico. And that's what
And
we're working
we'll
on.
talk about that in a different
In a
program,
different program.
too.
Yeah, but we have a committee for Pueblo Mágico. You can invite them.
Okay.
But I think that's the important part. We're trying to retake our festivals, our wine testing, that. We're going back with our trips. And we also are creating new experiences for people. Many of our courses are very interesting because they try to address Mexican culture, try to guide expats to understand Mexican culture. So, for example, we have a lot of cooking classes, so you can learn to prepare aguas frescas.
Well, you just had one, or it's coming up.
Chiles
one of
en
my
nogales.
chile nogadas. And I first had that in a very famous restaurant that is run by one of the premier chefs in Mexico, Vasquez what's her first name? Oh, I feel bad. Her restaurant is in San Blas.
Oh, okay.
It's called the Dolphin.
Mm-hmm.
And her last name is Betty Vasquez,
Uh-huh.
one of the premier chefs of Mexico.
Yes.
Matter of fact, she's one of the, when they had the world's famous Mexican cook-offs, she's one of the 3 chefs.
Yes.
And I first had chili nogados, if I'm saying that correctly,
Yes.
at her restaurant, which was unbelievable.
It's amazing. Yeah.
But it's a very, very unique dish.
And it's a
And you all are teaching it. It's
Yes.
very traditional.
It's a traditional dish, and it's custom. How I want to say it? It's a date related. It's a season dish because it can only be done when there is Granada. So now, right now, close to September, it's the season for Granada.
Well, what we're talking about, it's a great
It's
big
a red.
green chili
Yes,
with
with 3 different sauces.
meat and things inside.
Yes.
It also has a beautiful white sauce on top with pomegranate seeds, the red pomegranates, being red, green, and white, which is the color of the Mexican flag.
That's it.
And it was first developed, I think, by some nuns somewhere in a small village of Mexico where one of the former presidents went, and they prepared this beautiful dish for him. I don't know which president it was, but we'll have someone to educate me and the rest of our audience someday.
You can always come to one of our courses.
And they're teaching us how to cook it at the Lake Chapala Society.
Yeah, and like that we do different things, no? And also one of the great experiences also is like going with people to the markets. So you learn how to
Shop for the
shop
ingredients.
the
and
ingredients, and then how to cook them and prepare them. And we try to make it like simple to everyday kind of meal. It's not high-end cuisine, more like day-to-day basis. That
Well, you have the wine tasting, you have the tequila tastings.
We have wine tastings.
You have different
everything.
types of
We have a beer
things.
fest. We are going to have our jazz fest again.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I love jazz fest.
Yeah, that's
I
coming
love music.
probably October. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we have the magazines. You can go online, Google Lake Chapala Society,
Society.com.
and we're almost out of time. Believe it or not, time flies. And this is, flown right out the window, out the back door, I think.
Yeah, but I think the most important part is just to invite everyone to come in. I think they'll find something to do, something to love, and a reason just to have a great life here at Lakeside. So,
Well, I appreciate your time. I appreciate the valuable information you gave out and your guidance, your leadership for the future of the Lake Chapala Society. I think it's going to be, in the next short period of time, stronger, bigger, better than it ever has been. And I'm just looking forward to seeing what comes next.
yeah.
So, Louis, thank you very
Sir,
much.
it was great.
Anything in closing that you just think is really important that came to the top of your mind you need to get out?
Well, I think that the best way to participate with us is being there, being a member, being a volunteer, taking action on one of our programs, or helping us by fundraising and sponsor. You can sponsor one of local kids to go to college. You can help women to go through very difficult times with some of our social programs. So just be a part of it. We're just part of the community.
Well, thank you very much. And like I said, it is the hub of, I think, the expat community here in the Lake Chapala area. So again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your information. And I look forward to having you back sometime in the near future.
Perfect. We'll
Thank
be
you
here
very
every time
much.
you want.
Well, we're going to close out this chapter of Expat Conversations with Michael Nolen. And I appreciate you tuning in. If you have any questions, you can go to the website, email me, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you all present to the show. So thank you again for tuning in. Have a great day.
Happy trails to you until